Well, good afternoon. We're going to discuss a few topics. Whole thing here is contaminated. Contaminated news. Last week we discussed Fukushima, the fact that they did a false narrative out of the return to Fukushima with our mainstream media news. They did a return to Fukushima and talked about how they were within reactor 4 when reactor 4 was actually non-existent anymore. That's old news. Now, new news. We have what they call a red blob, another narrative in the ocean, and they're labeling part of it with climate. Another false, contaminated narrative. When we have the amount of false information, narratives, agendas, people have got to understand how this planet works. When you have the amount of dead ocean life in that ocean that we've got because of the leaking of Fukushima, you're going to have these blobs, as they put it, because like any decomposing carcass, your compost piles across the country, everything heats up and creates a mess. When you look at the amount of dead life that is in that ocean, we see the whales, the sea life that wash up on our beaches, but that's got to be just a small dropping of what we get to actually see, because that ocean is a vast area. And just like everything else, that red blob can be cleaned up and dealt with. And here's how. With the use of our natural microbes, if everybody was taught on the same level of education, if we were to drop a buoy with a GPS tag in it, a marker, to where they can follow the current, and we were to do massive amount of tanker drops of natural microbes in the same location repeatedly, day in, day out, for several weeks, we could break this red blob up, and we continue to do massive dumps of microbes on the same territory. And the reason why I say the buoy with a GPS tag in it is because that current's going to move it. When we keep putting microbes in that same region with that marker, eventually we'll get that area cleaned up. And if we keep putting life back into that same area and get it cleaned up to where it'll sustain again, just like the current of Fukushima's leakage, we keep doing the dumps of life, we can do something about that ocean. It's just going to take a lot of work, a lot of time, but isn't life worth it? Now, that's just like anything else. Our soil and our water in the country, we need to be putting down the microbes to clean this up. Life-sustaining event. Giving us life, giving us a chance. Now, to the next agenda. Why the experts of today's science is trying to explain why it is okay to dump all of Fukushima's tanks into the ocean. Well, their false narrative delusion. Well, again, false narrative, and here's why it's false information. If we go back to the 50s and you pull up the original case study done against nuclear before all of the testing, when, in my opinion, the experts in the 50s wanted to know the truth. They wanted to know just what radiation did. And they found in the 50s that it does not dilute in ocean water. That's correct. I said it does not dilute in ocean water. And that's why I'm labeling this video contaminated. All of the narratives are contaminated. We have experts that have paid agendas. They're being paid for a narrative. That's been going on for several years. So when you look at what's going on around the world, what's going on right here in this country, a false narrative of nuclear material is outlandish. People have got to understand that we don't need no more chemicals of anything. We can get back to life with microbes. And it's got to be a natural base microbe. We don't want no GMO of any kind put out here. It's got to be nature. Nature will sustain. Nature will survive. And hence is our survival. People have got to understand how important it is for our narrative of survival. Corporate America, the corporate world, they all have an agenda, and it's greed. It's all about the dollar, about the money. The ironic thing is, people have a choice. People have a choice to get involved and push for change. These narratives come down to our survival over greed. So, folks, it's simple. Working with a live microbe produces life, and that's something that people need to really look into. We have to have a sustainable ecosystem that we can thrive in. Having contaminated air, contaminated water, contaminated land, contaminated food. The narrative comes down to our survival and what can be done about it. Working with microbes is so simple that it's amazing. You can't go wrong with working with nature. When we put microbes down, whether it's in our soil or in our water, vast amounts of microbes, whether we dump them in the same location in that ocean or we repeatedly put down the microbes in our croplands, we clean up that soil to where we can sustain a crop without the use of chemical. We have too much chemical already, Everything we eat and drink is not natural. It enhances the chemical off balance in everything with us. Illnesses, disease, cancers, dementias, even mental health, mental illness is a chemical off balance. We go back to a natural balance, go back to working with nature, we'll be able to produce that food in high quantity without the chemical in a natural balance. Once we get our soil cleaned up, we start working on our water, because our soil is our number one filter to our water. So as long as our soil stays contaminated, so does our water. We start working with our soil, start getting life back, get our soil back in balance, we start getting our water back, and then people will be healthy again. So like I said in the one video, our president, Mr. Trump, has an agenda of making America great again. Our agenda is to make America healthy again. Now, healthy people, healthy workforce, happy people. It's amazing how simple things can be without looking at the major agendas of greed. Sadly, I'm only one person. I'm trying to get everybody to understand how important it is to put microbes to work, to clean up that chemical footprint, to remove the chemical footprint, and to remove that toxic soup from your dinner plate. It's very simple. Microbes do not require suits. Your chemicals require you to wear rubber gloves, rubber suits, whatever, to protect you. And that's what you're putting on our food, is toxic chemical. Once that's in the soil, it's in the water, it's in the food, let's let the microbes clean that toxic soup mess up, get us back to a natural balance where we can thrive again. Just that simple, folks. Mid-American Land Restoration. They're on Facebook. You can go get all the contaminated news you want. See if you can digest it. Get to understand how the microbes work. Here on the YouTube channel of Mid-American Land Restoration, you can see all the videos. We're going to try and do these videos at least a weekly occurrence. Depending on what comes out of the contaminated news, depend on how many videos we do. Trying to keep everybody abreast of what's going on, and to get everybody to understand it's not too late. Yeah, it's not too late to get life back. As long as we're upright, as long as we're walking about, it's not too late. Yeah, people have just got to get up, pull your bootstraps up, get involved. Like I said, Mid-American Land Restoration via Facebook, here on YouTube. You can get on the business side of this. Look us up on the web at midamericanlandrestore.com. Contact info is all there on the website. Not hiding from nobody. So, Mr. President, still waiting on your phone call. Y'all have a good day.